Hello friends, welcome. We're here today to talk about a game called Back4Blood. Back4Blood is a primarily co-op action-adventure game based on typical zombie apocalypse. You might know the developers of this game, Turtle Rock Studios, from previous games they've done, such as the ever-popular Left 4 Dead, as well as the a little bit less popular, but still otherwise fun Evolve. And they are back now with Back4Blood. Back4Blood, you might see a lot of similarities to Left 4 Dead. Okay, you can maybe say, I wouldn't go as far as to say that is its twin, but maybe a very much younger brother, or if not cousin. Okay, a lot of the things are the same in this game. As far as how the levels are placed, the zombies, the weapons, 4-player co-op as you run through the levels, in-game items, special mutation zombies, things like that. Safe rooms, okay? Each of these missions do consist of a run of you starting in a safe room and then having to go through the level whilst completing various objectives until you can finally make it into the next safe room, marking kind of a checkpoint between the missions. It was made by Turtle Rock in conjunction with Warner Brothers, and there are some slight differences in the mechanics from Left 4 Dead. That's why I wouldn't want to say it's an exact copy, but rather a much updated version, or I would say distant cousin, because there are some slightly different mechanics. The first of which being, you can actually aim down the sights in this game. You can aim down the sights, and there is recoil. There was recoil in Left 4 Dead, but it was more of a no aim down sights, crosshairs ever expanding as you shoot. Kind of similar to like an old Wolfenstein enemy territory. So, as we get further into this, as you can see, other mechanics differences are you can sprint in this game, and it does drain your stamina as you are sprinting. You can also jump and mantle objects. There is a choice between a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, which can be amplified to be 2 primary weapons with a special card that we'll get into later, or instead of a secondary weapon, you can also carry a melee weapon, which counts as your secondary weapon. You also have items, primarily it being a support item or health, an offensive item, so typical grenades, Molotov cocktails, firecrackers, which are pretty useful, pipe bombs, which you might remember if you're a original Left 4 Dead fan, and as well as a quick item, which you can think of these more as like a utility item. Some of these being barbed wire that can slow zombies down and pass through it, a toolkit to unlock locked doors, which will give you access to storerooms, which will give you coins, weapons, ammunition, weapon accessories, which is another new aspect of this game, and other various objects. So, after you get past the title screen, you'll be dropped into what is basically your base camp. From your base camp, you'll have either options to play, which is get into a match. You'll have the decks, where you can form decks of cards that you've unlocked. Supply lines, where you'll actually go to spend the points that you get while you're playing to unlock said cards. The cleaners, which is basically the different characters. The armory, where you can put different skins onto your guns. We'll talk about each of these in a little bit more detail, okay? First off, and I would consider honestly the most important, is going to be the card system, okay? Cards being, well, basically what they sound like, cards that you will unlock from the supply lines portion of that base camp. So, the nice thing about these cards being that you can tailor make your decks, or the 15 cards that you select to suit your playstyle or suit the role that you want to play during that mission. For example, you could have one specific deck set as medic, or maybe a support role, where you dedicate yourself to supporting your team, carrying extra bandages, maybe carrying extra ammo, faster healing, or effective healing. You could dedicate yourself to solely being a melee cleaner. So increase melee speed, melee damage. You heal yourself more when you kill zombies with melee. You could dedicate yourself to just being a shooter or gunfighter. Okay, carry 2 primary weapons, carry extra ammo, more accuracy, faster reload
Feels well
speeds,
at critical
faster
health
weapon
recover
switching,
1
more
health.
damage with your bullets,
Even if I carry
or a
25
kind of
zombies,
a
so like
mix
25
in
health.
between, more of a balanced character. Also, not forgetting the important parts like increased health,
Damage until the
increased
end
movement,
of the
faster
level.
sprint speed, maybe carry some extra
1 less
grenades if you
damage
like
from
to use
all
grenades a
green.
lot, carrying
Trauma
extra med kits
resistance.
or extra bandages if you feel like you're going to be healing yourself and
Trauma
your teammates a lot.
resistance. Health.
At the beginning, it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but over
Yes, sir.
time,
The new
you'll
one.
find that
Every
it's
time
actually
you
a
get hit
very
on your slice,
useful and
increase your
very
damage by
enjoyable
10%.
mechanic of the game. And honestly, at the beginning, I completely ignored this card system, but now it's one of
30%
my favorite
damage.
aspects of this
Damage
game.
heals good
After every
unlimited
mission or
ammo for
every
10
run,
seconds.
as they
Okay,
call it
that's
in
a
this
good one,
game,
actually.
I'll find myself sitting for at
Healing
least 5-10
efficiency.
minutes reading each card detailed and really taking my time to pick
Damage
what I think will
resistance.
be the
Ammo
specific or
capacity.
the perfect card for
Reload
that
speed. Where's
deck
my reload
to just
speed?
make that next mission go that much smoother or make me that much more of an effective cleaner.
That makes me so slow.
So as far as the character goes or cleaners go, there'll be several different cleaners, each of whom will have a different set of abilities. One ability will apply to the team in general, then another ability will be specific for that cleaner. Examples of that being Walker, who has increased damage. We'll have the Doc, which will have increased healing. Mom, which will carry increased support items. Each character has its own specific trait, his or her own specific trait, and you'll kind of have to play around, try them each out, or maybe try to pick a favorite, maybe a few favorites I like to bounce in between during each mission or during each run. I'd also recommend, okay, just, I know we're all gamers here, lifelong gamers, you guys know how to shoot guns and aim, but visit the firing range, okay? Here you get to see all the different weapons, all the different attachments, and kind of get a feel to how they handle, how many bullets they have, how long reloading takes, what the recoil is like, and more specifically, I would take a minute to really look at the attachments because they can have a huge, huge effect on your gameplay. For example, if you want to put a silencer on your gun, which makes you less detectable when taking out zombies. Okay, that can be very, very, very useful, especially at the higher difficulty levels. You can find yourself getting overwhelmed by zombies very quickly, so that silencer helps you engage zombies from a distance, not alert the other ones, and take on those zombies maybe one at a time, a few at a time, instead of shooting ones that are immediately getting swarmed by 20, 30 zombies. Other things like the compensator to really help that recoil control, even though I'm sure you're all recoil masters and pro gamers. If, say, for an example, you're dealing with a mutation or a special zombie that has a special weak point, you don't really want to get close to them because they can do you a lot of damage very quickly, so you want to try to engage from a distance. A compensator to help you with that recoil control so you can really get that shot group down and land all those shots perfectly into that weak spot, take down that special zombie quicker. Okay, other aspects, the different gun classes, you'll have sniper rifles, you'll have light machine guns, you'll have assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, pistols, and then melee. Okay, typical everyday gaming classes of weapons. Try them each out. See which one you like more. There is one card that allows you to carry 2 primary weapons instead of the typical 1 primary weapon and then 1 pistol or melee weapon. So you can kind of work your way around, figure out what kind of balance you like. Do you want to carry 2 primary weapons? Do you want to carry 1 primary and a melee, a primary and a pistol? Pistols are very effective in this game. You can really very easily land a 1 kill headshot or maybe even a 1 shot body shot with certain pistols. So it's a viable option as long as you're not being swarmed. And melee, of course, also being very useful, very effective in this game. A lot more effective than in Left 4 Dead, if you recall, in those days of trying to survive with an axe, especially given the fact that there are certain cards that will actually heal you and your teammates, possibly, for each melee kill that you do get. Other combinations being maybe you want to carry a heavy sniper rifle, that big old 50 cal, take down those big zombies, try to get them in one hit before they can really do much damage to you or your team. And maybe you want to pair that up with a shotgun, maybe an SMG, so you're not just running around with this big old sniper rifle that shoots once every 5 years. So, Once you're done checking out the different weapons, once you've taken a look at the supply lines, unlock some cards if you have points, if you've already played. If you haven't played yet, you won't have too many points, so don't worry about that too much, but, good to get familiar with it. Gone to the decks and made either your starter card system or your first card deck, or maybe, I don't know, your 5th card deck, your 100th card deck. Make as many as you want. It doesn't matter. You're going to want to start. You're going to want to play. You might want to play immediately, honestly, if you're like me and hate watching intros and introductions and tutorials. God, I hate tutorials. You just want to jump in, play right away. So you're going to head over to the play area. It'll be a nice military-looking gentleman waiting for you to risk your life to save. I don't really know if it's humanity or just a specific, survivor colony, but one of the two. Let's say humanity. Let's raise the stakes. Here you'll have the option of playing one of the 3 game modes that are currently in the game. Okay, you'll have co-op campaign, which will be a cooperative campaign. The hint's in the title. Swarm, which is a player versus player or a PvP mode. Some people play as the cleaners, other people play as the zombies, and then also training, which will just be you with a bunch of bots, not a bunch, 3 bots, being the cleaners, playing the campaign. You won't be paired with actual players, okay? Also, there's an option in the regular co-op campaign that you can actually set it to a private game, and you'll still be played with bots, or paired with bots, as I should say. One thing to note, I have been running into an issue kind of where, so the way these runs work, or these missions, you can start your own campaign mission, which is based off of where you are in the game or how far you've progressed in that playthrough, or you can hit quick play, which you'll join somebody else's campaign and help them through that. Both count towards progression for your campaign, but it's not yours. It's not saved under your name, as we could say. There have been some cases where I've tried to continue playing one of my campaigns from a later point in that act. Okay, there being 4 acts, 3 main, very long acts, and the last 4th and final act, where the matchmaking hasn't worked, and I've just been thrown into my game with just all bots, which isn't very enjoyable because the bots are bots. Okay, they're not the best shooters in the world, to be honest. They're very good at using items, giving you ammo, and then marking items. They're actually really good at that. But the shooting aspect, especially when it comes to special zombies, they're not the best. As well as the surviving aspect, also not the best. So you can either quick play, jump in with other players, or what I found the best option is whenever I'm starting a new act, start it from the very beginning and then play it all the way through without stopping, because I just haven't had that much luck finding other people to matchmake with. If I try to start one of my acts from a later point in that act, if I say act one more time, I'm going to throw myself off the balcony, I swear. Okay.
ASD.
So as far as the difficulty levels go, there are 3 difficulty levels in Back4Blood. Okay, you'll have recruit, or easy, veteran, normal, or nightmare, which will be hard. Honestly, recruit and veteran, I would say they're actually a little bit harder than what you would actually be expecting. Okay, recruit, if you're looking for a casual, laid-back game experience, or maybe you're not a pro gamer, don't want to be that stressed, it's not too difficult. There can be certain moments where your team might get overwhelmed. There might be a challenge. You might even die. It's happened to me. So you want to stick with the recruit. Normal, veteran, I would say it's not hard. It's not a hard difficulty, but you're definitely going to want to go in with a competent team. Okay, if you go in haphazardly, you're not very organized, your team just really isn't driving that well together, you will die in veteran. Veteran is quite challenging, to be honest. I'm not going to lie and say I'm a pro gamer and I can beat nightmare difficulty soloing 3 bots, but veteran is difficult, and I would say I'm an average, probably above average gamer. Veteran can be a challenge. Nightmare, it's a nightmare. Nightmare's a nightmare. What more does... Have you had a nightmare before? It was horrible, right?
Sound of Thunder, is that going to be like the last mission? Is that just
that game mode will be the same. So, pick whichever game mode you feel comfortable with. Honestly, I didn't, and I went for veteran because I thought it was normal. I can do normal. I'm a normal person. I ended up making the rest of my team suffer. Okay, at the beginning, I would recommend
If it's
going
possible,
with
I'm just gonna
recruit,
continue on my own.
filling out the acts, maybe unlocking more levels, just until you build up a
Yep.
general game
Option
sense,
cards.
understand what's
Good.
going on, what you're trying to do, and more importantly,
Why
until
do I
you
have this
start to
deck?
unlock some of those cards, more specific cards for your playstyle, more powerful cards, so you can actually be more of a
Is this full
help
deck?
than a
What
hindrance
decks do
to
I
your
have?
team.
Okay, I guess.
All right, so you've
All
chosen your
boss.
difficulty, you know more or less what character you want to get, you know what
Sure.
cards you have equipped and what they're going to do, you know what weapons you're trying to grab, or plan B, you know nothing of that. You didn't do
Okay,
any
whatever.
researching, you didn't pay attention to any of the tutorials, you're just winging it.
Empress
Hope you
Settles?
don't die, pedal to the metal, let's do this. Either way,
Well, at least I have more
jumping into a
knowledge about
game
the
now.
game, so I shouldn't do too
So,
bad.
at the start
No.
of each act, each
Okay.
mission, you're going to start off in the
Still
safe
6.
room. In the safe room, it is a room where you will be safe until you open the door to begin the mission, okay? The mission doesn't start, timer doesn't start, or sorry, the run, because there are runs, because you're running, I guess. Doesn't
Please
start
have my
until
coat
you
back.
open the big orange door. Inside the safe room, you're going to find always, you'll find
Yeah,
the
I said that.
store. It's going to be a little orange box on the floor. Here's where you can spend the coins that you have found throughout the run. Okay, here you can buy things such as weapons. You can buy any of the consumables that you'll be able to find in game, or you can buy attachments for your weapons as well as ammo and or health. Okay, you're spending points, coppers as they called, because I guess during a zombie apocalypse, people have taken the time to start stamping out copper coins, which is now the currency that
let's
everyone
try this
uses.
again then.
I don't even know where people can find copper. I haven't copper.
Round
there's nothing
2.
copper nowadays. Anyways, more important things.
Okay, all the
Store.
Molotovs.
Spend your copper
Bots.
coins. Sometimes, if you're
This isn't
lucky
working
enough,
with this
there'll
tournament
be a
campaign.
med kit. Okay, these med kits will be on the wall. They normally come with free uses, 4 free uses, to be exact, which can be divvied up amongst your team, or maybe you could donate your use to a teammate that has less health than you or needs it more.
Yes, I can.
Maybe sometimes you'll find some extra coins lying around. You might find some extra weapons lying around, or some extra consumables lying around. So you're going to want to get readied up. Make sure not to open the door until your team is ready. Okay, just manners, people, basic things. You won't want them to do it to you. Don't do it to them.
bullets on this, dude.
So buy your things, whatever you might want. You can also buy power-ups, extra cards for
happening
your
to me?
team to share as a whole. And once your team is set, you're going to want to go ahead and open that orange door, head out, and begin your run. Okay, of course, you've already spent a good number of minutes in the firing range. You know what weapons you want, you know how they act, you know what you want to use, so that's not an issue. Or you didn't do that. You've probably played games before. Just take a guess, okay? Assault rifles being a good average choice for average distance engagements. You can kind of reach out and touch people far away, or zombies far away, and they can still protect you up close. And then, of course, submachine guns close, sniper rifles far, and then shotguns close. As far as the items go, you'll be able to find random storehouses, which will be a green door with a yellow bullseye paint on it. These can be unlocked with toolkits, and those will have a bunch of extra goodies for you. I'm talking med kits, copper, coins, gun accessories, gun attachments, guns, consumables. Did I already say consumables? Well, consumables. Also, just randomly lying around, you might also find intel bundles, which will give you another card. It'll be a random basic card, which will either be more ammunition, more health, or more stamina. I think possibly 2 more coins at the start of each round. It also pop out of that. So you really want to keep an eye out for those. Copper coins can be found laying around or inside of cars. Inside of cars being a real good place to look. You might have to bash the window on the cars to actually get into it. It's not technically stealing because it's a zombie apocalypse. Well, actually, no. I think it is still stealing. Yeah, no, you're stealing. You're definitely stealing. But if you can live with that, break open that car window, steal out those coins. So keep an eye out for items that'll help you throughout your run or your journey, your zombie apocalypse journey.
back to here. Give my Molotov back.
as far as the actual zombies go. So at the beginning of each round, so much as you have cards, very important point here, the zombies will also have cards, so they'll have their own specific power-ups, and these can be a very range of things. There could be a fog, making visibility difficult. There can be armored zombies, which would mean that the vulnerable points of the special zombies will actually be covered. You can have ferocious zombies, which just means bigger, angrier, do more damage. You can also have bird hordes, okay, which would be just group of birds just waiting to ruin your day if you scare them and they fly around cawing. Because they're assholes. Alerting a zombie horde that will attack you. As far as zombie types go, there's going to be various special zombies. It's going to be basically what's a, what do they call it, hammer zombie? Has a big metal arm. Just very types of special zombies. So let's go with that. You'll figure it out once they're trying to kill you. Okay, and then moving on to the last topic, we'll talk about game sense, or basically how you're playing the game. Of course, good game sense is like a good suit or a good dress. It's going to be different for everyone, but the general concepts do apply. Okay, don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Okay, don't just run off away from your team to be surrounded by 50 zombies and then lose half of your health. There is a thing in this game where it's called trauma, where some of the damage that you take is taken away permanently. Okay, and you will not be able to get that back unless you find a medkit up on the wall. So if you're taking too much damage consistently, eventually your total HP will start to dwindle down until you're basically just made of glass, no matter how many bandages or how many pain pills you take. Protect your teammates, okay? Keep an eye on them. Different from Left 4 Dead, I would say this game feels a lot more team-oriented. Okay, it's a lot more dependent on good teamwork. Okay, so stay with your teammates, protect them, have them protect you. Okay, keep your eye on the lookout for items. There is a ping system in this game which works very, very well, I might say. So make sure you're pinging extra supplies, extra consumables, weapons, attachments, things like that, just in case a teammate or one of your buddies is looking for it to give your team that extra boost. Okay. Having a man down, especially once you get into veteran or nightmare mode, makes your life exponentially more difficult. Make sure you're clearing out the zombies, okay? Honestly, most of the damage that you're going to take isn't going to be from the zombies coming from your front, but it's going to be just one zombie that was in a bush behind you that you didn't completely check, and he's going to come up behind you and whack you in the back of the head probably about 3 or 4 times while you're trying to take care of that horde that's in front of you before you eventually have time to spin around and deal with him. Special zombies, make sure you're marking them for your team. Try to focus fire on them. If you let them run too rampant, or let's say maybe you get away and you're shooting from a distance, but you let them get close to your teammate, if your teammate takes damage, the team is taking damage. So that still does have a negative effect on you. But I'm sure everyone listening to this video is very team-oriented, selfless, and willing to make sacrifices for your teammates, and don't want to just run off by yourself and take on the world with a pistol and a knife and a grin on your face. So other than that, that's some of the basic tips that I would give. Okay, make sure you're putting yourself in a good position to protect your teammates and take out a good amount of zombies while minimizing the risk to yourself. And I will leave you with some actual gameplay so you guys can get a feel of how the game is actually played. If you guys would like to see any other topics covered in more detail, let me know in the comments. I will be making another video going over the card system more specifically, and then possibly one for some tips or tricks on how to make the actual runs go a little bit smoother, or how to make the runs a little bit more controlled or methodical, a little bit better planned instead of just constant improvised chaos. So I'll leave it off with thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, and it was quite a long one, but you're a champion. If you would be so kind as to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow button. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's free. You know, it doesn't cost you anything. It's so fast and free. Free being the important part. It really, really does help me out with motivation more than anything. I mean, let's be honest. And stay tuned for the next video that'll be posted up. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
How long is this gonna take with a pistol?